Alright, we're back. Part 4. I didn't mean for this to be this long. I wrote out a little bunch of notes about what I'm supposed to talk about and stuff. Didn't know it'd take 4 fucking parts to do. Apologize. Plus, I know my voice sounds like I'm perpetually stuck in puberty or whatever, so it might be painful, but I am dishing out some gems, and I think there's gonna be the most probably in this part, because I'm talking about a release strategy, my philosophy behind how I release my kits and stuff. This is the more advanced stuff, you've already been putting out kits for a while and you're wondering why you're not popping or whatever. Why some of your kits do well and why some of them don't, or something like that. So I'm gonna get into it. I just woke up, so I'm sounding raspier than usual, but we're just gonna talk through this. I'll probably have some gameplay up. I got nothing to show on the screen really for this part. For the most part, I'll probably whip out some stuff sometimes, but it's gonna be a commentary-ass video. So that's just what I'm going for today. So yeah, let's get into it. Alright, man, so one of the mistakes I actually made when I started out, and for a long time I just kind of persisted with it, was not having a real theme to my kits. So now I'm putting out my little baby, my 4PF kits. It's got a 4PF theme. Before that, the Wheezy kits, I had that whole Wheezy vibe. Before that, whatever, I think Memphis something, but I've got a very set tone for these kits, and that appeals to a specific audience. There's crossover too between them. My kits before that were just me making whatever the fuck I wanted, putting them in the kits, and often there'd be a mishmash, a bunch of different blends. So it'd be oh, it's got this Memphis loop, but then it's also got this Nick Mira, Bill Tekka kind of shit, and it was fine. I'd still get okay views on each, but there was nothing being built from each kit, and each kit was independent of each other in a sense. So the algorithm kind of separated them too, and I wasn't maximizing views basically. So all of them kind of got okay-ish views. I'd get 1K views in a week from all these kits and stuff. Now you can see, obviously now I use ads too, so those views are even higher. But these kits help each other. Even when I'm on incognito just to check, all my other Memphis kits will be in recommended. If I click on the Memphis kit, or if I click on my little baby kit, all my little baby stuff will be popping on recommended too. So it's all helping each other. There's crossover too. All the little baby fans fuck with all the little baby kits, but they also fuck with the Memphis kits. They might fuck with the Gunna kits, So the best thing to do for sure for SEO purposes, because this is what people are searching. People just aren't searching, loop kit. They're searching little baby loop kit because they're looking for 4PF loops, or they're looking for Memphis loops, they're looking for Detroit loops, whatever. That's what they're looking for. They aren't just looking for loops or whatever, they're looking for specific kind of melodies generally. Okay, so I'm gonna talk about free kits for a while. I still put out free kits all the time, man. I put out a free kit recently, my 2C kit. I always put out MIDI kits, which do crazy well. These Hi-Hat MIDI kits, they go bonkers. That's some of my highest downloaded stuff. I mentioned email marketing earlier. The way you get those emails into your database is through these free kits and stuff, and that's a big part of the free kits. Another big part is just generally outreach. You don't put ads on them necessarily, but you're just naturally getting so many people fucking with through the algorithm, through just the desire for free stuff. People always want free shit, so you're getting them in there. And bro, I'm gonna keep it honest, for probably 6 months or so from when I started putting out kits to probably January this year, I was pretty much mostly putting out free kits. I'd put out a premium kit every once in a while, maybe once a month or something, but it was mostly free kits, and that's how I built myself to the point where I'm at now, really. So that was a big fundamental part of why I'm able to sell so consistently now. That may be something you need to do, man. You may need to put the work in without seeing the results for a while. If your channel's not big, if you're just starting out, free kits might be the way for you. Obviously, you can put free in the title, do a free version, have a premium version. I think that would work too. Like I said, you won't see too many sales from that. I mentioned earlier, people will always go for the free version over the paid version, but you may need to struggle for a while before you're seeing full return. So just keep that in mind. This isn't gonna happen overnight. I don't have a secret for you if you just started out with 50, 100 subs or something. So I started this by saying all the kits and like the teams and stuff, like you need to have 4PF kits, you need to have like Memphis kits, and you need to stick to kits and stuff. But at the same time, you do need a bit of variety for kits. Like I know for beats, like if you're used to selling beats, you pretty much always just want to put out the same keywords again and again and again and again for the most success. That doesn't fully apply for kits. You generally want to put out similar melodies. Like if you're into that dark shit, put out dark stuff like all the time. That's cool. Just put out dark melodies. You can definitely do that, but you do need minor switch ups to convince people to buy your stuff, because ultimately, they're not gonna want to invest in you putting out the same thing again and again and again. So like for beats, you may get a ton of views and stuff on like putting out the same beat again and again, but at the same time, like remember, like not everyone's gonna buy all of your beats. The thing with loop kits and like sample packs is like you can get more purchases per view, like the ratio is higher. But the only way to do that is to vary your stuff a little bit. So for me personally, like I try to keep in mind like, okay, so I'm putting out these Lil Baby kits. What would Lil Baby fans also fuck with? So next kits were like Gunna kits, and like there's a little bit of crossover there. After that, I did Detroit, like 42 Doug shit, like some fucking T Grizzly shit, like just keep it kind of in the family, and then you can experiment a little bit. Like my Wednesdays are generally like the series stuff I do, where I put out like 3 sets of themed kits for like a while, and then on Saturdays I get a little more experimental. They may or may not be paid kits. Sometimes I put out free kits on those weeks. Like mini kits always come out on Saturdays and stuff. Like I fuck around a little more, and I just do that for me, really. There's no like competitive reason to why I do that, because ultimately, bro, if I wanted to make money, all I do is put out Wheezy kits, just Wheezy and Gunna kits, like just a little bit of variety in there. I just do that. I'd making double what I'm making now. But you gotta have a little bit of fun with it, you know what I'm saying? It's music, so can't just do everything for money. Alright, man, so okay, I think people who are familiar with me know that I put out a ton of stuff. Like I put out 2 kits a week on my own channel. I put out 1 kit again on the Loops Live channel by the collective, so together I'm like pretty much at my max, pretty much putting out like a ton of stuff. I wouldn't recommend going into this with that in mind. I would start off slow and gain momentum, just because you probably want to be seeing the results before you're going like head first and then making like 2 kits a week going crazy, like maybe 3 kits a week, something, I don't know. You need to keep in mind that you want to have a life outside making loops all day. Just build up your profile a little bit, build up all your social medias, even your like Instagram and stuff, which I haven't mentioned too much, but build up everything before you start ramping up, start seeing results, and then gauge those results to go further. That's what I did, and I think it worked out for me pretty well. Like on one hand, obviously, you always want to be putting out more. On the other hand, I know for a fact that the loops won't be as good if I start putting out more, so I'm pretty much at my limit. But I would say, honestly, 2 kits a month isn't bad for someone just starting to put stuff out. 2 kits a month, do all the work with the SEO. Make sure your kits are gonna get views and stuff. Make sure the loops are good, obviously. Get good at making loops. Put those out, see what happens, and then ramp them up. Maybe start doing it weekly after a point, and then eventually like bi-weekly, like me. I'd say start out slow for sure, just for yourself. This isn't like a success recommendation. Obviously, if you want to go harder, the more the better. But just personally, from I don't know, maybe in mental health. I'm not no mental health like expert or whatever, but like you don't need to be going too hard just initially. Like you can just ride off the success of your first few kits. My first few kits, like for example, like 2020, it was less saturated, so I was able to get a ton of views on those first kits, just because there was like less kits out, even though the loops weren't as good. But now it's a little harder. Maybe you will have to go a little harder initially, but I don't know. Just chill for a while, man. Just like check the market out, see what's going on, and then maybe go harder with the kits and stuff. Alright, so I mentioned like I just recently put out free kits. Like I still put out free kits. The reason for that, as I said earlier, was sales funnel. So I will actually pull up my screen for this. The sales funnel basically is what that is, it brings them into the store. So when they click on a download link from like sub to unlock or whatever, they've already like subbed to your YouTube channel maybe, you know, followed you on IG or whatever, and then they're dropped into this screen, right? Like they're already seeing all your paid shit. Already, you know, you've already got them into a point where they can see all your stuff. So say they wanted, you know, Lovesick 3, that's what they wanted. But now they have like the ability to see this. They're like, okay, whatever. Maybe they don't click on anything, they just click on Lovesick 3. They just add it to your cart. And I showed this earlier, but boom, the upsell is still on there. So you got the upsell too. And now like they're being prompted to buy more. So at that point, like they might buy more. And that's what a sales funnel is. Basically, you entice someone with your free stuff, get them in, and you know, you give them the opportunity to check out more stuff. Like, so I click on my latest kit. There's even a preview right here where they can like check out all the loops and stuff. Maybe they're interested in that, you never know. So free stuff once in a while doesn't miss. Like free stuff, like it still slaps. Like going into like later in your like, I guess your loop career, I don't know what to call it, but even when you're making like a decent amount of money off loops, like free stuff, like it's still like a good try. It's still a good like sell. Alright, man, bundles. So I'm gonna get into bundles right here. So boom, I got the So Icy bundle. That's just 3 of my kits like jammed into one, basically. That's all that is. And you're selling them at a lower price per loop. So I probably don't need to explain to you why that's useful, but like effectively you want to put out these bundles after a while of those kits being out, after, you know, the momentum has died down kind of from the sales from those kits. So you're giving them for like a lower price. And yeah, man, like people love these. Like people jump on these and give them the opportunity to get these loops at a lower price. They're definitely gonna buy it. So I recommend doing bundles too. That's pretty much my last point, but yeah. Alright guys, I think that's been the whole series. You know, I probably dropped the most gems in this part, I guess, but I think you should go from front to back if you're just starting out for sure, just to like get a good idea of what you need to be doing from the jump. But yeah, let me know what you think. Let me know if you like the series, this video, you know, fuck with Loopside, and yeah, peace.